Oh, that's a great idea. That's a great idea right there. Man, this is insane. Holy. Well, hello there, my fellow YouTubers, and welcome back to the channel. It's been over 3 months since I started this YouTube journey. So let me just say thank you to all of you that have been watching, that have been giving feedback, that have been subscribing to the channel. A huge thank you to all of you. The fact that the people are watching the videos and getting some value out of them is more than I could ask. However, having said that, content creation for YouTube is hard work. It's not just about making the videos and editing them, but the most important part is making videos that people actually want to watch and that will benefit from them. To do that, our channel, Digital Mirror, needs to perform a few tasks like researching the market, creating social media and blogs, and all of that demand a fair amount of time in order to be completed. And this is not just our channel here, but any channel out there. So, are we going to start hiring people for our channel? A channel so tiny? Well, people are expensive, and I haven't really won the lottery yet. So instead, we will be using the concept of AI agents. AI agents are entities designed to perceive their environment and take actions in order to achieve specific goals. And that is exactly what we want. To get the job done, we will need at least 4 main assistants. That's a competitor analyst, a content creator, a marketing expert, even with a misspelled double T, and an analytics consultant. For each assistant, we need to assign a certain number of tasks. For example, the competitor analyst will be responsible for searching and reviewing the latest trends, videos, and topics. You know, things that people are actually interested in. Their findings will be used as input into the next assistant, the content creator. This assistant will weigh in his ideas against other ideas out there and come up with fresh topics and concepts that, well, we can make content out of. Once these ideas are ready, it's time to send them to the next assistant, the marketing expert. Their job is to create catchy titles, video descriptions, YouTube tags, and search for forums, blogs, subreddits, and all things that will help us advertise our video. And finally, we need an analytics assistant that will gauge how the video is performing, the engagement, and what or where the team needs to be improving, especially the content creator. Now, if you think about it, this 4-role plan could be applicable to any startup, business idea, concept, you get the feeling. To achieve this, we're going to use the amazing framework of crewai. Now, before we get too excited and jump into VS Code, let's first see what we're doing with crewai. Crewai is really simple, and the amount of code that you want to put in depends on how deep and how well you want your assistants to perform. Crewai revolves around the following concepts: an agent, which will essentially be our assistants, and a task, which we will define and assign to our agents, aka our assistants. And finally, a set of tools, which will be assigned to our agents in order to allow them to do their job. With the 3 core concepts now under our belt, let's fire up VS Code. I use Anaconda to manage my packages and Python environments, so I suggest that you do the same. Either install Anaconda or Miniconda. This is entirely up to you. Once you download it and installed it, create an environment, for example, called crewai with the command conda create -n for name, crewai, and then we're going to specify Python equals 3.11. Once you get that done, just type conda activate crewai, and voila, we're going to be on that environment. Now, let's get coding. Let's begin by creating a project folder and a source folder. Let's install crewai by opening up the terminal and typing pip install crewai. Sweet. Next, let's create an agents Python module to contain our agents. The very first agent will be a competitor analyst. Every agent will have the following properties: a role, in this case, competitor market researcher, a goal, and that is what the agent is actually trying to achieve, and a backstory. And this last bit is very important because it's in the backstory that you define the type of assistant that you want. And then we have a few parameters like verbose, for example, to see the whole interaction in front of us as it unfolds, and memory, so it remembers its findings. We will also have allow delegation set to true, so it can interact with other agents. Now, this is pretty exciting, right? So let's start by creating the agents that we had in the board earlier. That involves a content creator a marketing expert, an analyst expert for our analytics. And the key here is be as descriptive as possible. I cannot stress this enough. The more descriptive you are, the better the agents will work. Our next step is creating the tasks. Let's create another Python module called task.py, and the same principles apply here. The more descriptive, the better. We will start with the most important task, the competitor market analysis task. First, we set a description of the task. We want to analyze the videos and find trending videos and topics that align with our channel. Then we need an expected output, what we want the task to produce. In this case, I want a report of the best trending topics and ideas out there. Our agents will also need tools to achieve these tasks, but we're going to get back to that a little bit later. Now, we need to create additional tasks. We want a video task that will use the input from the market analysis and come up with great ideas for videos based on the topics we're going after. The output of that task should be a list of 5 ideas for videos that are fresh and engaging. Another task we will need is one to generate YouTube meta information. That will involve the video description and the tags for the video. And those always are a pain in the butt because you have to come up with tags that will rank well with the YouTube algorithm. So we're going to get this agent to take care of that for us. Next, a marketing research task. This task will be responsible for advertising our video across blogs, forums, and subreddits that match our topics. Finally, we need a task to create social and blog posts. With all our tags created, we can now assign them to our agents. The competitor market analysis task will be assigned to the competitor analyst, the next video task to the content creator, and the generate video meta task to the marketing expert, the marketing research to the marketing expert, and the task to create posts to the marketing expert. Given that some tasks are dependent on others, we must ensure that everything runs smoothly. Therefore, we will set each individual task async attribute to false. This will avoid tasks running in parallel. This is the part you probably are asking, but how do I pass the output of a task as the input into another task? Well, for that, we use an attribute called context. So we will set the context of the next video task to competitor market analysis, which means this task cannot begin without the output of that task that we just defined. The generate video meta task will have context of next video and competitor analysis. The marketing research will depend on next video, generate video meta, and competitor analysis. And finally, the create a post task will have the context of marketing research, generate video meta, and next video tasks. All right, now, as far as tasks go, we're done. As a side note, you probably noticed that we left the analytics expert agent out. No, that's because we don't really have a video live yet. But once we do, we can certainly create a task for it. Now, the next step is probably the most complex one, or, maybe not. We will need to assign tools to our agents. There are 2 ways we can do this. We can use pre-made tools, which you can probably fetch from Langchain, for example, or we can create our very own custom tools. Now, AIs are dumb. There's nothing intelligent about them. An AI is only as smart as the data we give them. Let's imagine that we have 2 AIs, one called Harry and another one called Dick, for example. Well, Harry has access to rich data that we source from expert blogs and YouTube channels, while Dick gets to use Google and DuckDuckGo and is proliferated with pointless and overwhelming data. The conclusion here is that Harry generates great responses, while Dick doesn't. Moral of the story is, we want our AI to behave, more like a Harry and less like a Dick. So let's write our own custom tools to ensure that. All right, now at this point, let me tell you that this video is sponsored by yours truly. Consequently, if you like it, please don't forget to give us a thumbs up and to subscribe to our channel so that I can keep making more content like this. For our agent, we're going to need the following tools: a YouTube trending search, a Google Trends search, a Reddit Trends scraper, and a langchain tool called Google Server API Wrapper. So for this next step, let's create a new package called Tools. Then let's create the first tool, which will be the YouTube trending search, in a module called exactly that. Let's install the following modules: pip install requests and pip install crewai tools. We will also create a .env file to store our API keys. And of course, don't forget to exclude it from source control. We begin by importing all of these dependencies here. Then create a YouTube trending search tool class and extend the crewai base tool class. Next, we need to add a few fields like name, description, which are mandatory, as well as the abstract method run. This method is a wrapper method that will be called by our agent. It is super important, and honestly, I can't stress this enough, to write really good docstring for our tool, or our AI will not behave like a Harry and will not know how to use the tool. Next, let's create the method to find the trending videos. This method will contain 3 parameters: a topic, how far back we want to go in time, and the maximum number of results. We define the URL and API key and set the parameters. Make sure you create a YouTube API key and store it in an environment variable in the env file. We define the period we want the search to take place. We make the invocation to the API and store the results in a dictionary. Note that we will need an additional method for the video count, and for that, we need to assemble another private method that will return just that. These statistics are important so that our agent can decide if a video, and hence a topic, is engaging enough to be considered. Following that, we can create a little bit of test code to check if it's working properly or not. Now, folks, it is crucial that you test the tool before assigning it to the agent. Under the hood, we will be using either a local LLM or the OpenAI API. And for the latter one, it will cost us every time we run it. So even if the program does not finish gracefully, we're paying for it. The next tool will be Google Trends. It will follow the same steps as the previous tool. Let's create a module called googletrends.py, install the dependencies that we need, and in this case it will be pip install PyTrends, and then we'll start by importing all of the modules and classes that we're going to need at the top. We make a Google Trends class that extends the base tool, just like the previous tool. Then we add a name and a description, and of course, again, we implement the run abstract method. The tool will feature the following parameters: a trend topic parameter, geography, and the last months, which denote how far back we want to go in time. We define the fetch trends method, which is where all the action is going to be taking place. Now, the functionality is very straightforward. We initialize the PyTrends request object, define the payload, and fetch the interest over time, which is going to return a pandas data frame. Then we make sure that we test the code and that everything is working well. Awesome. For our final custom tool, let's create a Reddit Trends module. Install the Reddit API module with pip install pro, and then in order to use pro, or the Reddit API module, we need an API key and a few other bits and bobs from Reddit, which you can get here. Just make sure that you select script and put some bogus redirect URL. Once registered, we will need to create the following variables in the .env file: Reddit client ID, Reddit client secret, Reddit user agent. Now let's make the necessary imports and create the Reddit Trends class, which, like all other tools, it will extend the base tool class, have a name, description, and implementation of the abstract run method. You guys are already pros by now. But this time, it's only going to take one parameter, which is a list of subreddits. And this method is going to return a dictionary. Now document the method as best as you can, just like you did with all the other tools. So let's craft our method right now. We begin by instantiating the Reddit class with the necessary API credentials. Then we create a few default subreddits to source our documentation in case the agent is dumb and doesn't find anything. 3 of my favorite subreddits are the self-hosted, home lab, and the home server. They're great communities with a lot of good people there, and they're always eager to help. And actually, they've been supporting my channel a lot, so shout out to these subreddits. Now, we set a condition for no more than 3 subreddits at a time. This worked fine for me, as I believe more of this and the model will start overfitting a bit. But of course, you can experiment with different values and even remove this condition entirely. We then loop through the subreddits and through the posts part for each individual subreddit. For the next part, we have 2 options: We either use the hot method, which gets us the latest posts, or we use the top method that gets us the best posts of all time, or at least the posts with the highest score. I'm choosing the top method for now. We also add a few comments to each post, but be careful because there's only so many tokens that we can pass. Now let me ask you a quick question. What's the one thing that thrives in forums and blogs? Well, that's emojis. And emojis are horrible because they just pollute all of our data. And to address that, we need to write a helper tool to get rid of all of that. Okay, our tools are created, so now all that we got to do is assign these tools to the correct agents. Go to the agents module and create an instance object per tool. That's one instance for YouTube trending, one for Google Trends, and another one for Reddit trends. We're going to need one more tool to search the web, or in this case, Google. The tool is part of the langchain library of tools. To install it, run pip install langchain. You have to create a Serper API key, and once you have it, you will need to copy it to your .env file under the exact name Serper API key. And this is by convention, so don't worry because all you need to do is load this variable and Serper will pick it up. Then create an instance of Google Serper API wrapper and configure the tool to use it like so. The function that we're after is the run function. Awesome, we have everything. Now let's assign our tools to the agents. The competitor analysis agent gets the YouTube, Google, and Reddit trends tool. The content creator doesn't need any tools because its tasks are predicated on the output produced by the competitor analysis. The marketing expert gets the Google search and Reddit trends. And our analyst expert for analytics, as you guys know, we left it out. Let's create a main module and import all the things that we need. You will notice that you will need a module called .env. Now, this is the module responsible for loading the environmental variables. The environment variables, not environmental, sorry, that we specified in our .env file. To install it, just run pip install python.env. Upon defining the main method, load all the variables in the file with load.env. Crewai provides a crew class that takes as parameters the agents and the tasks. Let's set the verbose to 2 so we can see what happens and if any error occurs. Then we kick off the process with crew kickoff and store the results in a result variable. Also add the OpenAI key variable and specify the model that we want to use. Since we're dealing with a lot of tokens, the GPT-4 alone is not enough to cater for all of these tokens. As like I said earlier, I believe they can only cope with about 8,000 tokens. Set the variable OpenAI model name to GPT-4 Turbo. Oh, and one more thing. Since this is all paid and whatnot, if we're using, of course, OpenAPI, if you want to monitor all your API calls and see what's happening under the hood and the cost that each call incurs, I suggest you use Langsmith. You have about 1,000 queries for free, and to do this, you can just head over to Langsmith, register, and create an API key. For it to work is very simple. Just add 2 variables to your .env file, and those variables are langchain API key and langchain tracing v2 equals true. This is enough for langchain to pick up all of your calls. Okay, finally, to run this code and get our channel to the stratosphere. Let's go. And go. First task, competitor market researcher. Put a lot of things against Google Trends. Been going okay so far. Now that's pretty cool. Man, this is insane. All right, so we passed now the task to the content creator. Oh, video ideas. Let's see. Ultimate network upgrade guy, ethical AI, programming for a better tomorrow, automate your home lab like a pro using Kestra, why you need a home server, building in benefits, disaster proof your data, NAS backups. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. All right, it's coming up with more. What's it doing now? Research. Oh, okay. Now, based on those ideas, on those video tutorial ideas, it's looking for tags and it's using the Google search scraper. Oh, it wrote the paragraphs as well. So master your network upgrade with OpenSense from start to finish. I really like this ethical AI programming, building a future of fair technology. I mean, this is insane. This is This is really good. I'm going to be using this for my workflow from now on. It's amazing. Oh, look, it's delegating work to a coworker. Okay, so it found some cool blogs. Home Lab, cool, I already use it. Both Home Lab and Level 1 Techs Forum are vibrant communities with wealth of information. I didn't know this Level 1 Techs. That's a great one. I'm definitely going to check it out. So Home Lab, okay, so he prepared a post for Home Lab and Level 1 Techs, and it says, exciting news for networks wizards. We've just dropped a series of high-octane tutorials. High-octane tutorials. A series of high-octane tutorials and guides that are sure to turbocharge your tech skills and infrastructure. It's not too bad. I mean, I did put on the task not to be cheesy, but I guess he doesn't really understand cheesiness. But there's a bunch of ideas here. Master your now work, upgrade with OpenSys from start to finish. I've done one with pfSense. I guess I can do one with OpenSense as well. Ethical AI programming. So join us as we explore the critical issues of bias and privacy in AI development. This episode is filled with expert discussions and practical tips for embedding ethical practices into your AI projects. Now I have to say, this video right here, I loved every second of it from start to finish because it was a lot of discovery and researching, and the outcomes were really, really encouraging in the end. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it too. And of course, don't forget to subscribe and like our channel. I'll see you guys soon. Take care.